What's going on, everybody? Respawn Gentleman here. So from the release of Dying Light 2 up until very recently, the fate of Kyle Crane was a mystery. Now confirmed by Techland, we know he's alive and could be returning in Dying Light 2. In today's video, I'm going to be unpacking everything that is Kyle Crane. For those who don't know, Kyle Crane was the protagonist of the first Dying Light game. If you haven't played it yet, I would highly recommend it. Beware of spoilers for the first game, as I will be breaking down major plot points from the story. Crane starts off his adventure working for the GRE, and his mission is to obtain some files that another GRE operative stole and took to the infected city of Haran. Immediately after landing in the city, Kyle gets bitten and has to start taking antizin to keep from turning. Through this, he meets Rahim, the person who teaches Kyle parkour, Jade, Rahim's sister and an ex-kickboxer, and also Brecken, the leader of the Tower survivors. Kyle is then asked to go speak to Dr. Zaire, who is actually working on a cure for the virus. Crane assists with setting up a mission to gather antizin that ends up failing. He's then quickly sent on a mission to grab the airdrop of supplies instead, where he is contacted by the GRE to destroy all of it. This is the beginning of his distrust towards the GRE's motives. As soon as this occurs, Crane experiences his first volatile and the terror that they are. After narrowly escaping the volatile threat, Kyle heads off to meet Rise, the leader of the Ruthless Mercenaries and ex-GRE operative. Once Kyle meets Rise, he realizes that getting the files from him is not going to be easy. For the time being, Crane decides to complete tasks given to him by Rise, which is eventually rewarded with 5 vials of antizin after being promised 2 entire crates of it. When Kyle gets angry about this, Rice asks him to bring Jade to him so that she can fight in his arena in order to give him the rest. Upon reaching the tower again, Brecken discovers that the broadcast of antizin drops have stopped. This occurred directly after an outbreak started on the 18th floor of the tower and several people lost their lives. While trying to contact the GRE to give them an update on the situation, Crane sees Rahim on the roof talking about a plan to destroy the volatile nest to make nights a bit safer. After saving him from falling to his death on the roof, Kyle meets Jade to discuss where they can find more antizin. This leads Crane to a school that Rice has taken over and stores supplies. He eventually makes it to the basement only to find that they don't have any antizin, but there's tons of dynamite. Jade takes the explosives so they can go through with Rahim's plan and blow up the nest. While the preparations for the nest are being made, Kyle visits Dr. Zaire again and discovers that the cure is actually possible when he brings the doctor some bolter tissue. This would require contact to be made with Dr. Camden in Old Town, which has had no communication for quite some time. Directly after this, Rahim radios Kyle to tell him the plan to blow up the nest failed and he needed help. Crane meets up with Rahim, who's injured, and goes off to blow up the nest. Upon completing this, he returns to Rahim, who has turned into a volatile. Kyle is then forced to kill Rahim. Kyle tells Brecken what happened, and then Dr. Zaire gets attacked by Rice's men and he is kidnapped. When he goes to confront Rice about this, he's contacted by the GRE saying the Ministry of Defense will blow up the city in 48 hours if the cure is not found. Crane is then captured by Rice after finding Dr. Zaire and forced to fight in the arena. After surviving onslaughts of infected and a demolisher, Rice tells Crane that the GRE files are actually for weaponizing the virus and not a cure. Angrily, Kyle grabs a nearby machete and cuts off Rice's hand before escaping the arena. Crane then finds out that Jade has gone to Old Town with Dr. Zaire's research and proceeds through the sewers to reach the other part of the city. Once through the sewers, he's met with an ambush by Rice and his men that he barely escapes alive. Finally gets in contact with Jade and tells her the truth of everything that's happened. Jade gets very upset by this and runs off. When he tries to meet up with her, he finds out that she's been kidnapped and taken to the museum. Once he arrives, he discovers that she's been infected and is forced to kill her just like her brother. After heading back to the Old Town survivors, Crane has to hurry to get a message out to the world from an antenna as there are jets heading to the city to blow it up. The message is sent just in time to prevent the bombs from dropping. Kyle then goes to meet with Dr. Camden to give him Dr. Zaire's research in developing a cure. He attempts to contact the GRE about this, but the radio connects to Rice instead. Rice has made a deal with the GRE and they're going to extract him from the city. Crane then races to meet with Rice and they have one final battle with Kyle coming out victorious. The GRE helicopter at the extraction point asks him to give up the research, but he refuses due to knowing what they're really trying to do. Kyle heads back to Dr. Camden and gives him the full research for the cure. This leads us to the events of the following DLC. Kyle finds a map from an injured survivor that claims to lead to a way out of Haran and a cure to the virus. He decides to check it out in hopes of finding a cure, as Dr. Camden's research was not providing results fast enough. The map leads him to the countryside that surrounds Haran, which is also crawling with infected. Crane makes his way to Jasir's farm, which is mostly made up of members of a cult called the Children of the Sun, who are very distrusting of outsiders. Through completing tasks to gain their trust, Crane heads to the Eye of the Sun where he meets the Mother. She uses a strange blue gas that makes everyone invisible to the infected. This same gas is later found by Kyle in a field that leaked from a turned over military jeep. The faceless priests of the cult ask him to find their missing members, and when Kyle arrives, he discovers that a group of Rice's men have killed 2 of the priests and captured 1. Crane is able to track them down and take him out, but is unable to save the faceless priest that was tortured. The priest's final words led Kyle to a lighthouse where he discovered that Rice's men are here to kill the mother. He then races to the dam where the mother is located to stop Rice's men from completing their objective. As he reaches the mother's base, he finds that all of Rice's men have been killed by the cult. Upon meeting with the mother, she removes her mask to reveal that she's actually a volatile that has retained her sentience. Kyle then finds out that the mother used to be a colonel's wife and the blue gas is derived from a serum that was made to stop the virus. She explains that instead of stopping the virus, the blue liquid slowly mutates you into a volatile, which is why the infected ignore those that have breathed in the gas or drank the liquid. At this point, the mother offers a choice to Kyle: either use a nuclear warhead to destroy Haran, which effectively wipes out the virus, or refuse and die. This point is the first and only time in the first game where the player has to make a choice that can affect the ending of the story. Until recently, there was a large debate on which ending was canon. However, Techland has confirmed which one is the true ending during the anniversary livestream they did. In the true canonical ending, Crane refuses to blow up the city and tries to take the blue serum from the mother. Unhappy with this choice, the mother forces Kyle to drink the serum and they fight to the death. Kyle comes out victorious but is suffering from the effects of the serum. He makes his way to the exit and ends up outside the quarantine walls of Haran. There are children playing and people living normal lives until they see Kyle. As they run away in terror, Crane looks down and sees that he's already transforming into a volatile just like the mother had said. This leads to the events between the two games. Not much is known about what happens to Kyle Crane other than the fact that he was the one who started the spread of the virus outside of Haran and to the rest of the world. There were some audio logs found in the game files of Dying Light 2 that didn't make it into the final game. They suggest that Crane was captured by the GRE at some point and Waltz wanted to gain access to him so he could try to find a cure for his daughter, however he was never able to. A theory I have is that what started the fall was Kyle Crane escaping from the GRE, which is what spread the virus across the globe. Between this and the events of Dying Light 2, there's no information on what Kyle Crane has been going through all this time. Techland has been leaving little hints here and there suggesting that he is alive until they actually confirmed it. With the anniversary update, there were several Morse code transmissions that were found. In one of these, the message says, "We found him northwest of Villador, send help." I believe this means that Kyle Crane is now outside the walls of the city and is potentially wreaking havoc on those that cross his path. From what we know at the time of recording this video, the second story DLC will be taking place outside of Villador after the events of the main game. It will also be more centered around the infected rather than humans like the main story. This leads me to believe that Kyle Crane will be in the second story DLC either as a mentor to Aiden as he comes to grips with his newfound volatile-like powers, or he'll be an antagonist that wants to kill everyone in the city. If this is the case, it'll most likely be up to player choice to either join him or go against him, much like the choice with the mother was in the following. I would like to see Techland expand on the sentient volatile idea that was introduced with the mother, and Kyle Crane is the perfect vehicle for that. Leave a comment down below with your thoughts on Kyle Crane and how you'd like to see him return in Dying Light 2. If you enjoyed this video and you want to see more gaming content, make sure to like and subscribe. Thanks for watching. See you guys next time.